So in this video, I want to give you the key to being motivated 100% all the time. So in this video, I want to give you the secret to staying motivated 100% of the time. And if, like me, I discovered this from trying over and over again and then just sabotaging. So maybe you've got projects right now, which you know if you finish, your life will be better off. You have a business idea, which you know if you follow through, if you just stick to, then it will work and you'll be in a situation that's much better than the situation than you're in now. Maybe you know that if you go to the gym consistently, you'll have that body that you so idolize all the time, think about. But then you don't do it for a couple of weeks and the pressure builds and it's too difficult to stay consistent. It's too difficult to be consistently motivated all the time. And the issue is that when you look at why you're motivated, so the reason that you go to the gym is because you look in the mirror maybe and you're like, I just don't like what I'm seeing here. I need to go to the gym. I need to start this business. I need to get out of this situation. I'm desperate. I need to find somebody like a girlfriend or something. Like I need to go out and approach women. All of the problem with all of these, if you're negatively motivated, if your motivation is negativity, all you're doing is you're motivated to not feel negativity. So you're ping-ponging from negativity to negativity and you can't stay in one. So eventually you quit. You can't handle the negativity. If your motivation to go to the gym is because you don't want to look a certain way, you get to the gym, you lift a few weights and you still look the same. It takes about 6 months to start making any real progress. Same with meeting women and actually improving your dating life. You go out, you're socially awkward, you're anxious and you don't want to feel what you're feeling. And you go out and you speak to a few people and it's brutal and you think, I don't want to feel this. I just want to go home and isolate. And most guys do this. They try and work on themselves and they try and willpower and they try and push through. So in this video, I want to give you a perspective which has really helped me stay motivated extremely consistently. And the biggest mistake I was making that was stopping my motivation, which was causing me to sabotage so much. So the big problem, the biggest thing that we do is that we're all so focused on getting the result. And we never really think about what's getting in the way and what's actually stopping us in the first place. So when we go to the gym and when we don't go to the gym, it's because we're running away from pain. And when we get there, we still feel pain. So the brain is like, okay, you don't want pain. That's the one thing you don't want. But this is also pain. So I might as well just feel the pain of not going. That's easier. And it will choose that every time. The brain is amazing at having this kind of success calculator. It figures out what's efficient. The brain is amazing at this. It's like, okay, what's the risk here? Okay, you're going to feel bad. You feel bad for not going and then you get to the gym and you feel bad. So what's the solution? How do we overcome this? How do we do it so that we don't feel bad? But this is the problem. You're going to feel bad. And that's the first thing to understand is you choose your poison. You understand and you come to terms with the fact that there's no escaping this. It's either feel bad for not going or feel bad for going. And then you let go. Okay, so that's the issue. Then eventually you realize your brain figures out, okay, I've got no choice here. When you start and you're motivated by not looking a certain way to go to the gym, after a couple of months, and you're like, okay, I'm still not really changing, I'm still feeling that pain, you will quit because you're penduluming. And most people do this. They start their New Year's resolutions. They don't want to feel this way. I want to change my life. I want to get out of this situation I'm in. And they force themselves, they push through, and all they're doing really is swimming upstream. And I used to do this all the time. And it wasn't until I realized that I was doing this that there were parts of me that were causing me to sabotage. It wasn't until I understood this that this became a lot easier. So the first thing you have to understand is that you don't want to swim upstream. You have to anticipate, and it's the key takeaway from this video, is you anticipate that it's going to be difficult. And then what you're doing is you're not complacent. Because what happens is, let's say you go to the gym for 5 or 6 months, and everybody does this, you start getting results. And you think, this is easy. I look different, I feel good, I can take a day off. Because, I deserve it. I've come so far. Look at me now. This is so easy. I can just start again. Doesn't matter. And then you license yourself to take one day off. So now your motivation is, again, you're reinforcing that motivation to not want to feel pain. So maybe in the beginning it was like overcome the pain, you do that, you force, you willpower. But eventually, because you're using the motivation of not wanting to feel pain, suddenly the motivation becomes to not feel pain. And then you feel pain. You feel pain because you lose that momentum. And then you can't get going again. It becomes too difficult. And everybody's doing this. Everybody's ping-ponging, let's say ping-ponging, between results and then being comfortable with those results and sabotaging. And what you have to understand is that you're in it for the long run. There is no outcome. There is no stopping. This is the thing you have to understand. And one takeaway I want to give you from this video. You have to anticipate that it's always going to be difficult. Don't get complacent, because your mind always wants to choose the easy option. It will always find a reason to stay at home and eat pizza and not go. That's the first thing. But the key and the subtle thing to understand is that you see that and you literally say to yourself, this is going to suck. I'm not going to want to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. Just saying that, you anticipate the negativity. Everything else will cause you to sabotage because it goes in under the radar. It causes you to get comfortable. It causes you to think, okay, this is so easy, I don't need to do this. I used to do this with boxing all the time. I'd finish work at 4 o'clock and I'd start boxing at 6 o'clock. So I had this 2-hour period where I could convince myself to go or not go. So I would make this commitment. This is how I got very consistent. I committed to going regardless of how I felt, and I knew I wouldn't want to go. I knew it. Rather than waiting to feel motivated, like most people, using the negative motivation or the positive motivation, I understood that motivation wasn't going to be my goal. I understood that there were times when I didn't want to go, and I knew I had to go on those days. So I anticipate that I don't want to go, and I say, okay, I don't want to go today. Get my bag and I'm out the door. So these hypotheticals, what we play in our mind when we finish work, I finish work at 4 o'clock, I got to get to the gym at 6 o'clock, I've got 2 hours. I know my mind is going to be like, you could just take a day off. You've been working really hard. You've been doing really well this month. Okay, you kind of saw, you need to save energy. Maybe tonight you're not going to be as strong, you're not going to be as fit. So your mind plays these hypotheticals. It plays out this mental movie of what you should do, what you shouldn't do. You have to be conscious of that, anticipate that. And it's not about being like so hard on you realize when you're hard on yourself as well. Because when you are motivated by negativity and you think, okay, I'm going to go every day. I'm looking terrible. Oh my God, I look so bad. Right. I need to go every day next year, or I need to go at least once a week. And you put this outcome on you. The outcome then becomes your God. It becomes your master. You miss one day, you lose motivation because you think, okay, I can't even go once a week. I'm so useless. This isn't going to work for me. You lose motivation. You go back into the pain. I hope this is making sense, because honestly, this is what changed everything for me for consistency. You will be able to stay motivated when you drop outcome, when you drop trying to achieve everything on the outside, and just focus on what you can do today. And the outcome will take care of itself. Consistency comes when you drop consistency, because you're more likely to go, because you're not putting these limitations on yourself. Your negative motivation will come when you're negatively motivated, when you're trying to avoid negative feelings. It's because you're looking in the mirror and be like, I don't want to do that. I feel so bad about myself. I need to do this. But that won't last. Do you see the point? It becomes the main motivation. That doesn't stay the same. So what you have to understand is, and what I figured out, and I'm still working at this, but I'm so much more consistent. When I started this video, I'm like, okay, I'm pretty tired. I've had a long day. I've got this video. I really want to make this video on consistency and motivation. It's kind of hanging over me. I could just do it tomorrow. Or I could wait till I feel a bit better. Or it's a bit late now. Or, I don't really understand it that well. No, I'm not waiting for the motivation. I just do it. So I anticipate that there's going to be battle. There's going to be this resistance. You have to anticipate the resistance. And then you commit. You say, I'm going to do it, regardless of the resistance. And then you know in the future that the resistance will still be there. But the outcome will take care of itself if you keep acting in spite of resistance. But you anticipate the resistance. I hope this makes sense. This is the game changer. And that's what meditation's for as well. So when you're meditating, what you're doing is you're literally just watching these hypotheticals or this internal battle you've got going on. You don't get involved with the battle. You don't get involved with the war that's going on. You just watch it. And that's what you're strengthening when you meditate. When you go for walks, when you journal, because you're focusing your mind on the one thing. You're letting your mind sort things out. When we're doom scrolling and when we're watching Netflix and we're doing all of these things, we can't emotionally process things. So we get tired and we don't have willpower. Willpower is the ability to monitor this conflict. So I've kind of gone off on a bit of a tangent there, but I really hope this helps. Anything that you, please comment, like, and subscribe if you think this has been helpful. See you in the next video.